Several more miles to go, but almost home. Got a fair amount of weight. Got 10 Axletech axles. Coming down the pass, using compression braking. Trying to keep our normal brakes from getting too hot. Looking forward to getting these unloaded. I'm building up quite a bit of speed here, and these brakes are getting pretty warm. I'm really starting to worry if I can get this thing to stop.
My name is Alan, and I have an addiction. But drugs or alcohol have no part in my life. I've never smoked anything, never chewed tobacco, never drank a beer, though that doesn't stop me from having friends that do. Safety, respect, and responsibility doesn't mean that you can't have fun. We live in the inland Northwest, a land of mud, rocks, and mountains. In my world, Larry is the delivery guy, and Jeremiah is the cable guy. We're a big group of people of all different types that share a common interest, and for the most part, all get along. It's like one big happy and slightly dysfunctional family. Regardless, I'm honored to share my journey with all of these people I call friends, and I want to share their stories with you. This is my life of big trucks and low bucks.
Well, thankfully I made it down the pass all right. It's all about driving cautious, taking it easy, and not pushing your limits, which is completely the opposite driving style of the rigs that we're going to see this weekend. So I'm on my way now to stop by Matt Huit's place and check in on the Zniper buggy. Fred owns the Zniper buggy, and he's ready to wheel it this weekend with some current upgrades that are being done.
This one here, this chassis is actually the last 4-seat Sniper chassis that Avalanche Engineering built. They weren't going to build it actually, and Fred called him up and said, no, I'm mailing you a check, I want that chassis. And actually argued with them until he finally said, no, you don't understand, I'm sending you a check, send me a chassis. And he got it, and at the time, hardly any of us knew anything about this type of build. Because all we'd ever messed around with was leaf springs and this and that, you know, just playing around with the mud rigs and mild wheeling. We'd never really, none of us had ever gotten into the hardcore wheeling aspect of it. And since then, I've learned just immense different information about building rigs, building the 4-link suspension. When he first got this, I was not comfortable at all trying to build it. Now it's like, all right, let's just do it. It may not be perfect, but it'll work. Should work pretty well. Basically, when he brought me this, it had the 1-tons with small little tiny heim joints, nowhere near strong enough. So what I did is I had to remove all the chassis tabs, all the brackets, everything for the 4-link, the bump stops. I had to build all new lower link mounts, had to fabricate new upper link mounts, build all new 4-link bars. We went with the 1.25" Rockwell off-road heim joints with the misalignment spacers. Now it should hold up. In the front end, I've got to adapt the steering cylinder that was on the Dana 60. Luckily, the mount on the axle that was already there is the same. So I just need to mount it in a different location, and then I'm going to have to make new tie rod ends.
Well, it looks like Matt has his hands full finishing Fred's rig, plus getting his own ready before this weekend. But I've got to get back on the road and continuing on my way to drop off these axles. While I'm driving by, I'm stopping in to say hi to Rick.
I'm Rick with Cobalt Industries. We do custom metal fabrication machine work, and we're here to talk to you about the Axletech 4000s and some of the parts we make for them. Right here we got a blank for the 1350 and 1410 driveline adapters. 3/4 inch steel plate. We round them out, got the lathe, machine them down with the interface and their inner diameters. And then we got a jig we throw in the vise here, center it up on our mill, and run the holes to bolt up to the Axletech yoke. And then the second set of holes for the 1350 and 1410 flange. And we also make them for the 1480 flange if you want to play the big boys.
And there will be a few big boys showing up this weekend to try to qualify for next year's Mountain Havoc competition.
Is this some of the stuff from Charlie's?
Yeah, this is actually Charlie's lathe, his mill. Got the automated Urco.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Charlie was my cousin who recently passed away. He was just getting back into the off-road scene, building a K5 Blazer when cancer ended his life early. But it's good seeing his tools going to good use here with Rick, helping to make parts and pieces for off-road trucks and Axletechs.
I thought this looked like Dan's Jeep.
Yep, that's Dan's Jeep. And hopefully we'll have it ready to go for Mountain Mafia this weekend.
Dan Hutchins owns this CJ5 that's getting some work and suspension modifications done here. And maybe we'll see it out this weekend. But now, I'm continuing on my way with my next stop to drop off these axles with Ben Spinney.
I'm Ben Spinney of Spinneybent Fabrication. This is my son Noah, and we build engines and transmissions and do a lot of fabrication around here. CNC cutting, 4-link design, cab design. Lloyd Standish works for me in the back shop, and he's part of the brains of the operation, and we stay very busy. This is our old green owl buggy. It's FJ40 hood, and the rest is just come together over the years. We're going to swap in a set of Axletech and use the parts that we make for the techs. And things are getting bigger and better, especially up with our off-road park, the Purcell Trench Ranch with the Mountain Mafia. We're building things huge up there, and it's time for us to step up. This is what we're working on now. I have a long ways to go. I started this project a while ago, and then building our property, I kind of got sucked into that and pulled off of it so we could create our off-road park. And we have our last event of the year this weekend, and then I'll be back on this hopefully a lot. We'll get it done this winter because I want to race and have it next year too.
After hauling 10 of these axles back from Oklahoma last week, mixed in with broken wheel studs, blown tires, and my trailer nearly coming apart, Ben was good enough to make me a fair deal on one pair of them for myself. I'm almost certain that I just heard my trailer sigh in relief as we are unloading them now. Now that my trailer has space, and since I'm in the area anyways, I'm headed to pick up my Cadillac from Dwayne Finley. I left the car with him almost 2 years ago, and it's time for me to finally grab it. So you couldn't get one more demo derby out of this, huh?
Well, probably could have, but, 4. I broke the axle again, so.
Well, demo derby I started a long time ago. I did that long before I was mud bogging. I've been doing that. This is my 33rd year doing that. I only do a couple of years. It's not like I'm totally excited. A little bit.
Just when you get behind the wheel and someone pisses you off.
It's definitely good therapy for a mechanic to go out and wreck cars intentionally. Yeah, it's really good therapy.
What are your thoughts on the new Mountain Mafia?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's cool that Ben got something like that going. It's totally different from Moyie, because Moyie is, you know, the people, the low budget people. You know, it's been there a long time. Now their kids are doing it, and it's fun because you can go in there and you can take your beater rig that you got for, you know, your favorite chickens or pickup kind of thing. You know, and you go out there and you can crash it. The kids can have a good time, and you know, and it's still doable. Where Ben's is a little bit more on the high end as far as the participant though. It's awesome. You know?
So just for you, like the free-for-all open up, just kind of like running the demo derbies, just full throttle and like relieve your stress, right?
Yeah. Everything, it's all fun.
I'm hoping to attend both events this weekend, but for now, I'm going to get this Cadillac back home and try to see if I can raise the money I need and fix some of my trucks to take with me. I'll be helping out with the NMRA races at the Mountain Mafia event on Saturday, but I'm also trying to attend the Moyie Mud Bog on Friday. In the meantime, I've got some miles to cover and some work to get done. But let's look at how the NMRA, or the Northwest Mud Racers Association, works alongside with the Mountain Mafia.
I'm Ben Spinney from the Mountain Mafia and the Purcell Trench Ranch.
I'm Stephen Adair, Northwest Mud Racers Association.
When we started our venue up here, we knew that we wanted to get into some organized mud racing, and we wanted to do it right and professional. And our friends with the NMRA have been doing that for a while. They have a lot of experience, so we brought them on board, and we collaborate on the races and all the events up here. Even the Havoc events, they're a huge part of, so we're really lucky to have them.
Yeah, we come up here and we basically organize the racers, get them racing, teched in, and it really frees up Ben's crew to do what they need to do out here on the property. But it also pretty much blankets all the events we cover with the same rules, same tech inspection. You can expect to run the same class every event you go to.
I think it's great because it legitimizes all the racing at all the different venues in our region. And it standardizes all the rules and tech in, and like he said, you get to race the same class, you kind of know where you fit in, you see a lot of the same people, and we have somewhat of a circuit going, and it's growing, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better as we progress. Now that I finally made it back home, I unloaded the Cadillac, and I'm throwing out all the things that my trailer destroyed on this last trip. I'm also unloading the 2 axles out of the truck before stopping in to see my half-brother and his mom, who is my dad's first wife.
You're in Wyoming, Denver.
Hi. How are you doing?
Seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a little while. How are you feeling?
I've been trying to judge.
That's good. After a short visit, I'm getting back to work. A tire blew its cords on Steve's trailer just sitting here while I was gone last week, and I need to use it. I'm headed up to the town next to us to drop off these souvenirs I got from Oklahoma for a friend Brooke, and at the store that she works at, I'm picking up their cardboard recycling while I'm there.
I'm using my Cummins-powered Chevy crew cab, nicknamed the C4, to run up and grab this load. And it's a beautiful fall day, making me appreciate the nature around me.
We're very respectful of the environment. We pack it in, we pack it out.
They care about the land, they care about the environment, they care about safety.
Huge respect for the environment. The true off-roaders definitely love the environment, definitely take care of it.
We tread lightly. There's areas that are designated four-wheel drive trails that we stay on, and we can, get up in there and we're not going to hurt the ground. But on public roads, we use the state laws. We all abide by them.
My family and everybody I go off-road with leave the area in better condition than when we got there. Always total respect. The close-knit group of off-roaders take care of the off-roads, the trails, the woods, sand dunes, what have you.
Ashton is helping me load up the trailer with the cardboard, and I'm dropping off these souvenirs from Oklahoma with Brooke and him.
I thought you were gonna go to Oklahoma and get a food.
Now that my trailer's fully loaded with all the cardboard recycling, I'm headed back to my place for the night. This next morning, I'm loading up a Chevy rear axle that I'm taking in to Will at Dynamic Motorsports. Recycling is just another one of many ways we as humans can try and reuse materials and reduce waste and respect the world in which we live in and the environment. It's a big world, but sometimes it's a small world. And in my area, it's a small town local feeling of knowing people, having friends and acquaintances to help out and that help you out in return. And even though I'm headed to the bigger populated city today, that feeling still holds true in the community of fellow truck owners and off-roaders.
Will and Kirk are busy getting Kirk's truck ready for a trip to California. There's still some talk between the two of them about last weekend's mud races and who won.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you because I'm still at a bit of a loss for it. All I can say is second place. Much better than third. Here at Dynamic Motorsports, we have our own source.
Of course, the guys have to pick on April, Kirk's mom, as part of the everyday routine. Kirk and Will have to do some running to grab parts. Here I'm dropping off this axle that Will needs. Then I'm headed into Spokane. After a stop to drop off some headers nearby, then to grab a non-running step van from Dan Hill before the end of the day. The next morning, my friend Nathan dropped off my red trailer after he had to replace a hub on it that broke the wheel studs off when he borrowed it last month. Larry is going to pick it up and use it this weekend to go to the Mountain Mafia event. I'm on my way to drop off this cardboard on the trailer, but first stopping in at D&J Automotive, where Don and Jake are also getting ready for the upcoming races this weekend. Here I'm talking to them about a few things and also meeting up with Raven, who's giving me her pass to go to the Moyie mud bogs that she has, since she and Dale can't go this time with the grasshopper. So now, I have my pass to get into the Moyie mud bogs thanks to Raven, and now I'm dropping off all this cardboard, which I'll have to say is much easier to unload with equipment than loading it all by hand. From here, I'm running over to the valley to pick up a parked Chevy that Larry made a deal on. So I'm winching it up on the trailer, of course after fighting a few things, trying to get it lined up and steering and onto the trailer. But from here, I'm headed over to the opposite end of town to Castle Engines. Here at Castle Engines, I'm having Jeff order me a replacement set of roller rockers for my 489 big block in the truck Blazer. The money I got from the big load of cardboard was just enough to pay for the new set of rocker arms. In a sense, I turned some recycling into new parts. Next, I'm stopping in at Deer Park to pick up a Chevy Blazer body. And then from here, running over to Don's house. Don has the FWB loaded up and ready to go for the weekend.
So I just grabbed these two magnets from Don and Jake's bus. I'm hoping that I'll be able to use those
on a long stick or rod somehow attached to pull out the axle shafts in the back of Carnage, or at least what's left of the axle shafts. So now I'm gonna head back north to my place, unload this trailer, get ready for this weekend.
It's already starting to get dark pulling into my place, and I'm meeting with Joey, who is going to buy a transmission and transfer case out of one of my trucks. And I'm using that money for fuel and food for my weekend. While they start pulling his parts, I'm going to try a last-minute attempt to fix my truck Carnage.
I pulled the other axle shaft out, it was broke from the other side. I got this rod with the magnet at the end of it that I used to extract the other side. With this broken piece removed, I'm able to use this piece of steel, which is long enough to push through and push the other broken piece out of the splines in the carrier. So now I'll pull the broken piece through with the magnet and hopefully extract it. And there it is. I've got my parts axle still bolted under the big crew cab. I'm going to use the axle shafts out of this to replace the ones in Carnage. I actually have spares in the shop, but finding them would take longer than it would be to pull these out. Next, I've got to drop this plastic mud shield down so that I can get to the starter and change the starter out. With the plastic shield dropped, I can now get to the starter. I've just got to disconnect the battery and then put the battery on charge. Here in the messy shop, I've got a factory GM smaller high torque starter off of a Vortec motor. I'm going to go ahead and try to use that. Let's put in the other starter, and it won't work because the nose cone on it, the main starter, has no nose cone. And this is designed for the engine mounting plate. It's only cut out for the gear itself, not for a nose cone. In order to try to torch out a bigger hole, I'd end up melting all this plastic once I removed it. Just a lot more work than it's worth right now to try to make another starter fit. Now it looks like everyone else is getting some stuff done, even more complicated stuff. I can't even get a simple thing like a starter changed out without running into a dead end. So in that aspect, I'm resorting to taking the white K5 of mine. It just needs a few things. Shifter tower was coming loose. It's got two bolts that are stripped out. But I'm just going to have to be easy on shifting it. And I did have some overheating problems. The water pump got changed out a while ago. It was still leaking coolant. I'll have to look into that in the daylight. But not what I wanted to take, but the last resort. Everything else up here needs even more work.
It was definitely easiest to just use my silver dually hooked to my 20-foot trailer I just got home from Texas and Oklahoma with, and just take my white K5 for the weekend instead of fighting to fix Carnage and switching out those huge tires off of it by myself. I'm going through Bonner's Ferry now on my way to the Moyie mud bog.
My name's Rex Sherman. This is the Moyie mud bog, and I don't know, people come and they have a lot of fun. That's what it's about, just having fun. Yeah, Chuck Hook, the old man, I guess everybody knows me. 73 Chevy. It's a brand new motor. It's got about 5 miles on it. So weekend's just gonna be playing in the sand with it. Just get the motor dialed in. We'll better see what it's gonna do.
My name's Tom Harris. This is my 85 Toyota, the holy grail of Toyotas, that I put a 3-stroke or small block Chevy in it. I haven't even tried it really this year, so I don't know what it's going to do, but it's a lot better than last spring when it smoked and burnt more oil than it did gas. So.
My name's Matt Huit. Built this just for fun. Built it in a week out of old parts I had at the shop I work at. It's been holding together for 5 years now. Sounds like it might have a little bit of a rod knot going on. It'll pull through the whole weekend. I have faith in it.
Moyie mud bog.
We're talking with Bruce here about why year after year he puts this event on.
Make people happy. A lot of fun. This never was put on to make money. It's just a place for people to come and have fun. Oh, they're gracious people. The people put this on, I know. People do all this.
So it really brought us closer as a family, and that's one thing I've noticed as people that bog or Rockwell or whatever, they're really tight in. If someone breaks, the other person's right there trying to help them and get them back on the road. You don't find that too often. I like the way there's each mud bog event. They can be oranges and apples. You know what I mean? You can't compare the two. It's like
They're all their different things,
and that's cool.
Cody. Rex, have you seen my dad?
Yeah, we just fed him.
Oh, good.
And he went that away, I think.
I'd like to borrow you and him. Brandy's rear
Wait.
drive line is broken at the top.
She broke?
She was doing really good. She made it through the very top part when it was just her and I. She's trying to show off. So, do you want to come help? Because I trust you.
Before it got dark, Brandy and Jessica went up the Moyie tank trap. They were driving Pinkie Pie, Brandy's Jeep. But now it's dark, and Jessica says they broke down somewhere near the top. Down below here, I'm unloading my white K5, and Orville and I are going up the access road. Jessica doesn't know where Brandy is now, and Jessica and Rex are headed up to behind us. Brandy is a capable driver, and her Jeep is a capable 4-wheel drive, but that doesn't mean that accidents or bad things can't happen. And I'm not too sure what we're about to find out.
Anybody gonna go through the pit? I said, well, yeah, eventually. And he said, well, she's never been through. I said, okay, I'll take her.
How did she react to that?
We went through 4 times and tore it up pretty good, I think. Pretty good. And when I said, okay, I'm gonna go park it, and I pulled up here, and she said, let me out here, I'm gonna go get my truck. It's her daily driver. We'll see how that goes in 6 months or so.
So you've started a new one.
Yep. Another recruit. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's the freedom of it and the people that are associated with it, how everybody helps each other.
What do you find fun about going to the mud bog?
Good neighbors like I got that are, and just talking to everybody.
So it's like the community up here when you camp out, have neighbors.
And a lot of times, I'll go through the pit a bunch, but a lot of times I'll just be out doing stuff, talking to people. And like I pulled up here last night, nobody was here, and I I had plans to camp in the field, and I got to talk to this guy, the neighbor. Seemed like a pretty cool guy. I was like, oh, I'm going to just stay here. That's what I like about it.
Oh, you never met Chuck up until now?
Nope.
Oh,
I just happened to run into him. Went out and talked to him this morning, and he seems like a pretty mellow guy. I'm going to camp here. So that's the one thing I don't like is the people that are just out of control. But you know, that's why I like coming here. It's just everybody's doing here for the fun of it.
Off-roading, well, couldn't off-road if I've been off-road all my life anyway. The boys and I used to go to Moses Lake all the time, and then, 7 years? No. 11 years ago, Chuck Jr. went over to Big Al's, took his little white Toyota pickup over there, and I took this.
How many years have you been coming up here now?
Oh, geez. Right, the next year after Big Al's, probably 7, 8 years. Less a year, 2 years they weren't open. And half-time I had the truck here, half-time not.
Just maybe the people that get to play in the mud, and somebody big enough to push me out and do this stuff. Yeah, what do you think on the fight?
My younger sister used to come up here years and years ago, and she would always tell me, you gotta come, it's so much fun. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really for me. Looks like kind of a wild time. And we finally came up, and that was it. I'm hooked.
What do you think about the other people that you met so far?
Awesome people. Awesome people. You know, I honestly, anybody will pitch in and drop their own stuff to help somebody else out. It's awesome. It's family.
Bruce, you told me founder, or how do you want to?
I want to talk to Bruce.
Entrepreneur?
Yeah. The owner of the place. What was how many years have you been doing this?
Yeah, 13 years, 14 years.
Right.
Down for 2.
And what's your main reason for wanting to do it and keep doing it?
Make people happy. A lot of fun.